Hi, a little warning, if it looks like I'm looking down at the script, it's because I am. I'm terrible at making things up on the spot. I need to make a note first, so I'm going to be looking at my notes while saying all things. This will be what I hope to be the first of a few videos over a series that I'm going to release over the next 2.5 months, displaying the progression of my master's project during semester 3. As you're able to see on my Artstation, and you will see in these upcoming videos, this project in semester 1 is the same project here in semester 3, but this semester I will be refining each mechanic and other systems, plus making a map and adding as much quality content as I can. My goal is to create a piece worth being recognised as a technical designer in the games industry, as that is the role I'm aiming to get into after much deliberation of many other roles over the last almost 4 years of being at university. This project is called Legends Everflower. It is named after a game I never finished, regrettably, from college. That was probably around 5 years ago. And you'll see many correlations between some RPGs that I guess are commonly liked and some of the mechanics of my game. This will be a virtual reality experience as well. So it's designed to be a bit more immersive than just your normal game, as it's going to feel like you're there in a scene, hopefully. I apologise for the long intro. We'll go straight into the first mechanic for the series. This first mechanic is the element and armor damage multipliers. Okay, so here we are in the project, Legends Everflower. And to start the elements, the best place to show you, if you hear the flicking of a book, again, I've got notes with me. Best place to show you to start with would be the enumerators. So I've got technically 4 elements in my project: fire, ice, earth, and none. I guess normal, you could say. These will be the outline of the enemy element types plus the weapon element types. I also have 3 enumerators, low, medium, high, and this would be for the classes Mage, Ranger, Warrior, plus the enemies also have this enumerator applied to them as well, of their own armor rating. So the elements and the armor are essentially the same way to set up. It's a little bit more complicated with the armor. Like some things have to be added, some things have to be taken away compared to the elements. But I'm going to mainly go over the elements, and the armor should be sort of shown on the way. So here we have a structure, which is just the enumerator turned into a map with a flow. It's not anything really complicated to overly explain, with default values of 111. So anytime the information is pulled from the structure, the value by default will be 1. So there's no mystery of why isn't anything doing any damage. This data table is made from the elemental damage structure table, and it's got all 4 types: null, fire, earth, and ice. And within each row, it tells you how much the multiplier should do to that typing. Now, under the ice type, for example, fire is stronger than ice in the typical elemental chart, so trying to do any ice damage to a fire type will have the ice damage only do half the amount of attack damage. Whereas doing ice to earth would do a 2 times damage. In this test map, to explain that system, got a fire icon pointing towards an ice icon, which means fire has advantage over ice, which has advantage over earth, which has advantage over fire. I will still need to find a way to communicate that when the actual level is built, as I will not be using this graph within the final build. So next we have the common function library, a type of function that I can add to all my actors that is relevant to it. So what this does is it sees what type of damage is being received, whether ice, fire, earth, or nothing. And then it tries to find that in the elemental damage table. Now for every affiliated element, which is the element of the thing being attacked, So it could have more than one. I'm only going to stick to one, but this could have more than one type. It will add the multiplier to the local multipliers array, and the multiplier will be what is in the data table here. So once that's finished, it will take all the multipliers from the previous loop, multiply them with the current multiplier, and set that as the new current multiplier as many times as there is multipliers. By default, current multiplier is set to 1, so if there was an attack doing double damage, it would make multipliers equal 2. 2 divided by 1 is still 2, and the current multiplier will be 2. It will return that value. For the armor, it's exactly the same. There was nothing that needed to be changed except for data table armor. So next is the damage types, which is just a simple blueprint that you just find down here. Just in blueprints, there we go. And damage type. I just had to grab the base. And within damage type, I just created two variables, that's the word. Both of them enums to the relevant element armor. And these have to be instance editable as well. With each damage type, I had to create a single one per element, and the same for armor. I've got low, medium, high for armor, though I'm not sure I did use them because I did have to make some changes because something wasn't working. But the armor does work now. I'm not sure if I used those damage types. So for example, earth damage type has element set to earth. The armor can be ignored, it can be set to low just by default, because I'm not ever going to draw from earth underscore damage type. I don't want the armor value, I'm only going to ask about the element. Onto the projectile. So the weapon I'll be showing is a gun I made. Just a warning in advance, I don't know why the bullet is no longer showing. It was working perfectly fine earlier, and just one time I click play it worked, one time I click play and the bullet isn't visible. So that's something I have to fix. But the bullet is there, and it's just typical Unreal. So after, please ignore the mess, after the collision of the sphere component, which is the bullet, we get the base enemy character to make sure that is an enemy we are shooting, and then we apply damage with earth type damage. This gun is an earth type weapon, so it'll be super effective against fire types, weak against ice types, and will do just the normal damage, which is 10 to null types and earth types. Once that damage is received, it then goes on to the blueprint for the base enemy character. There are a few different things added to this line in the scripts where the enemy can't be hit multiple times within quick succession. So the enemy isn't just spammed out of existence. So when we go over to here, we've got a function, which is the calculate multiplier function. This is everything that handles my element and armor multiplier. Before I show you that, I just want to go over here to show the last version, as I did not have a video of this for semester 1. Essentially what I have here is the equivalent of this. I did not know about data tables and structures until very recently, which is when I decided to learn about them and see if I could turn them into an element table. So before I just had switches on switches with variables, and it was a utter mess. And then it was also these bits attached on the end as well. This is my fix for the problem I had with the armor, where the armor wasn't able to do this sort of thing. I don't fully explain it yet myself, so I'm not going to go into detail about it, but this works, and it's not that complicated to look at. So I am happy with this being part of the final project, unless I find a different way to do this. So what this essentially does is it casts to the base damage type, which is referenced from the damage type. We then go to see what type of armor this enemy has, low, medium, or high. If they have low armor, it is a multiplier of 1. If they have medium armor, it's 1.5, high armor is 2. We then get the element damage multiplier by finding the amount used in the previous blueprint, this one. So this is a function which is turned pure here. And then we take that multiplier and we divide it by the multiplier result. So for example, if I try and use a fire type attack on an ice type, it will do double damage. But if their armor is high, for example, I'm going to divide the double damage by 2. So it's 2 divided by 2 is 1. I hope, off the top of my head. And then there'll be multiplier total, and then we return with the multiplier total. We're going to come out of here and multiply that by the damage received. So for the bullet, it's 10 times multiplier. And then we feed that into my take damage function, which is simply get the health and set the health to minus the damage taken. And plus, I divide it by 100 because they have a health bar widget. And I use that decimal as the progress bar only takes decimals. It doesn't take whole numbers. At least not in this project, it doesn't. And then out of there, simply if the enemy's health rather is less than 0, get rid of it. Otherwise, after 1.5 seconds, you can attack it again. Alright, I've got the virtual reality headset on now. Just a warning, you're going to probably see some damage counters coming off of the enemy. I'm not entirely sure they're correct yet. I don't believe they are, in actual fact, so they will be fixed and in a different video. So here we are in virtual reality. I've got a print string on, which will show you the damage taken. I will also read it out when it appears, just in case it's hard to see. So to select my class, I have a little menu on the back of my hand. I'm just going to select Ranger. All this needs to be refined as well. There's my health and stuff like that. I'm going to grab my gun. As you can see, I press the trigger and the bullet's not firing. I don't know why. It was working fine a few hours ago. But if I shoot him, I take health. It says 10 all around him, but in actuality it's 5. You can probably see in the top left where I'm shooting him, it says 5. It's because I'm using an earth type on an ice type. This guy's got low armor, so there's not going to be any multipliers. Also, I need to reduce the amount that sprays off. But yeah, so that's the element. So now I'm back in with an earth type enemy. I'm going to select my gun. As it's an earth type enemy, and my gun is an earth type, it's not going to have any multiplier, except I've also given him a high armor value. So the armor value is 2. Which means I should do half damage to him. So I've shot him, ignore the 10s. If I look in the top left of my screen, it says damage taken 5. I don't know how well you can see that in the recording. That's what it says in blue, just up the top left. So one last time, 7 to fire, which is why he's quite red. I'm going to use my earth gun, so I'll have a 2 times advantage. He is on low armor, therefore he will have no defense against it, so it should do 20 damage. And top left, my eyes are blurry, 20 damage. Yep, cool. So before I end the video, there's one more thing I need to say. I need to give credit where credit's due. I followed Ryan Laley, I believe his name. Ryan Laley, I apologise if I'm butchering that. I follow his tutorials a lot to learn how to blueprint. Him and many other creators on YouTube are some of my biggest inspirations for being a technical designer. And without the tutorials, I wouldn't know what I'm doing. So thank you to Ryan Laley for your 2-part series on element charts. And I don't remember the full name, sorry. If you just put Ryan Laley element charts, you'll find him. There have been changes in my code to make it different from his. It's not exactly the same. But a lot of it is from being taught how to do it by him. So that, yeah, again, credit where credit is due. Back to my face again. Thank you for watching. Hope this demonstrated quite good use of learning and my hopeful future skill set going into the industry. I've got a lot more to show from both semester 1 and this semester. I'm still working hard. I've got 2.5 months left. The deadline is the middle of August, so I've got plenty of time to just keep chugging at it and keep producing the best work. Keep an eye on my Artstation, I guess my YouTube as well, as this is where it's going to be uploaded. For any other future mechanics, I should have one out in a day or two, maybe a couple of days, depends how long it takes for me to fix a couple of things. And I've got a whole book here of just like the things I want to add. So I'll give you like a foreshadow, or not foreshadow, idea what to expect. There's stuff I want to add is stuff like audio. Obviously, that will make it a game, but some sort of experience points, maybe abilities, interactive objects. I've got loads of different things I want to add, which I'm still considering whether it's appropriate or not for a virtual reality experience. I should hopefully have the map done soon over the next couple of weeks as well. So that's another thing to look forward to. So again, I'm really bad at doing these long intro outros, but thank you for sticking through, and see you in the next one.